check it out. Yeah. Criminal. Yeah. I can feel it, baby. Yeah. Here we go. Market making such criminals, giving you the messages you know it's so subliminal. Put it under your tongue like sublingual. Next thing you know, we're coming out like the jingle, jiggle, jiggle, ka-ching. You're making profits all day, coming through the charts just to get paid. Blue candles pumping up in the space. House full of aces, that's how we play. Then we pump it, take it, profit, can you spot it? Cause we're about to come up right through the next golden pocket. Then we drop it, market makers can't spot it. To top it, to lock it in, then the profit starts to spin, baby. Here we go, like we're swimming in the pool. There's a capper out here, and they say he's not a fool. On the treadmill every day, cause he dropped right out of school. Next thing you know, man, that guy's such a tool. Here we go, I got the plunge, about to wrap into the plunger like we're going under, come on under. Here's my number, about to give it to you, 1, 2. Jason Casper candles turning purple, then they blue. Market makers that support. Don't mess with me, about to get hurt. Are we going long? Heck no, baby, we short. From the top, giving in it that you hoard. Here we go in the Casper crew. J Casper, sit back, I'll show you how we do. CDW, 1 minute MCB. Bitcoin, I'm the best crypto MC. Yeah, listen to my crypto flow. J Casper in the house, let me tell you what I know. Hanging out with my good friend Joe. Looking all around like we want to blow. The bubbles flying up into the air. Walking on the treadmill in my underwear. Don't have pants, but I don't care. Hopefully we don't quiet, then I scare ya. I say boo, listen to me, I'ma listen to you. I'ma take you to the zoo, then we take it back like we are a boo. Come and drink coffee, you know that's how we do. Cause so insane, got the caffeine in my veins. Going crazy like I'm up in the membrane. Looking down like we're not in the trains. Cause we're outside looking so strange for days. Yeah, you know I do it this same way. Coming to the charts, another day, another trade. I give it to you straight, you know I never give it gay. J Casper so serious, he never played. Got the power for about an hour. In the tree, next thing you know he's owl. Cause the jewels on the case in the desk. Bitcoin price, what she gonna do next? Hey, J Casper trading in the house. Looking over for the Bitcoin bounce. Oh snap, baby, let me take a peek to see if Marcus Cypher B has any uneven butt cheeks. We want big on the left, so juicy. Skinny on the right to find out the booty. And I don't even know if you can spot it, but we gotta bounce right from the next golden pocket. Top it, like the market maker socket. Got the purple and the orange coming out like I lock it. To the 786, Bitcoin price back to her old tricks. Tell you it's that story, it's not boring. Back in high school, looking so glory. I had a crush on a girl named Six Juanita. I said, hey baby, let's get some pizza. She said, yo, I'm gluten free. I'm a vegan too, so baby, get away from me. I don't wanna eat pizza, you see. J Casper, you don't give me glee, cause I hate you. I don't like you like that. You're stuck in the friend zone, what about that? She rejected me, and the candles turned purple. Jason Casper's such a nerd like Steve Urkel. But I know the truth. Why she dumped me, just to proof. She wasn't into nice guys, look at her eyes in disguise. She likes criminals, like Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah, market makers be criminals, giving you the signals, so subliminal. Don't you know, we're out here subliminal. Sam Bankman-Fried, looking double minimal. Cause he got uneven man boobs. Don't mean to be rude, but look at the tube. Nice and big on the left, skinny on the right. He ain't got nothing left, but now he's up in the prison. SBF, you know that he be missing his girl, Six Juanita. So I asked her out again, I said, hey baby, would you be my friend? She said, babe, you know, maybe this time. Now we're in our 30s, we could be fine, be an item. Go out for pasta and wine at the Olive Garden. I could take you some time, and don't you know about the pasta, yeah man. Jason Cosmo is a Rasta, yeah. So now we rapping like this. Jason Cosmo dreadlocks Jamaican, we his.
All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. God bless everybody in Jesus' name. Even if you are not religious, I pray from the bottom of my heart that you and your family are blessed in many ways as the Bitcoin price is happening again, guys. A harsh rejection from this key level of resistance right here. My goodness, can you believe such a drop? As we look at the higher time frames, as you can see by this arrow here, it says, as we are breaking down from a massive bear flag from the exact top trade given in real time in the Casper Crew VIP Discord from the exact top, and we are currently back testing. And are we going to make another low? Like, are we breaking down from this, guys? I mean, this is serious business. All right, this is probably going to be the most serious Bitcoin cryptocurrency video that you've ever seen in your life. So make sure to like and subscribe and click the bell. If we can get 1,000 likes within the first half hour, we will be giving away 1,000 US Dizzle. All right, US Drizzle on the fine dine Dizzle. Sprinkle it on the pan and hear it sizzle, baby. We got to give a major shout to everybody in the chat. Major shout to Mr. Marju. Shout out to 33 Isam. Shout out to Samuel S. Shout out to John Cox. Shout out to Joseph Pfizer. He says, God bless JC. God bless you, bro. Shout out to Cruise TV and Crypto Coons holding it down with the rent. Shout out to Driftman YB9BK. ESKR. We got to give a major shout to our man Alex O. Crypto. Alexo or Alex O. Crypto. He says, yo, JC, my power went out. I'm pedaling my bicycle for some Wi-Fi to say God bless, and we short as fook. Well, God bless you, Alex. Oh, Crypto, man. I hope the trades are good. I hope the profits are juicy, and I'm glad you can get some cardio and some Wi-Fi at the same time. Shout out to Glasshopper. He says, best intro I've ever heard. Yeah, that was a pre-record from a live stream we did a few days ago. Major shout out to Preparing for War. Shout out to Baka 0007. Major shout out to Frankie Kid with Chemo. He says gluten free. Sorry that I can't pronounce anyone's name, but you know, YouTube has changed the way they show the display names and with no spaces, and I'm just too dyslexic for that. Major shout out to Evanito 710 and Larry Garcia. What's up, Uncle Larry? My man. Shout out to DLO and Lucky Man 67895. We gotta give a major shout to Irish Dutchman, telling everyone to like the stream. Step number 2, finish the stream with us. Step number 3, go take the course in the Jason Casper YouTube channel. And step 4, take your gains and jump in the Jason Casper VIP Discord, baby. 90.3 is the exact top on the weekly, says Ben. Yeah, let's talk about this. I was expecting a little bit of a move down from 90.3. I was not necessarily expecting such a large drop, but you know, after a move up like that, you would at least expect us to come back down and backtest 88K. But as you can see, we have come down a wee bit lower. So, we're going to get into why we rejected here. We're going to get into the rejection. You know, we've got a lot of weird screenshots in here. The rejection, the uneven butt cheeks, this random trade that I took, I guess. This trade setup given in advance, and this one. We've got trans non-carbon binary emission gender studies, strung out, addicted to coffee, hallucinating from trading too much, been hitting the gym, and screaming into a plunger. Also, guys, you can see that we rejected from a beautiful area of resistance here. First of all, we had the liquidity from around $90,000, and we came up right into this high volume node and weekly level, and that's where we got the rejection from. And that's where we are currently rejectioning from. Make sure to smash up the likes, everybody. Make sure to smash up the likes. It's not serious until the plunger makes the appearance. That's right, Jay Schlongen. That's right, that's right. Shout out to Luminosa. Shout out to Casual TA. What is going on, my man? Shout out to Alan P48711. And shout out to Khalid Chikanukunu. Depressed by the Bitcoin price action. Major shout out to La Colis. I know that's not your old name, but this is your new name. God bless you. Good to see you here. Now, yeah, first of all, guys, Bitcoin. What a harsh rejection today. And if we can take a look at the Fear and Greed Index, this website really loves to hit me with some good advertisements here, but you can see that the Fear and Greed Index is still in extreme fear as we are grinding down to support. Some interesting things in the news. First of all, Bitcoin holds near 87. At the making of this video, we're a little bit below 87. Despite ETF outflows of over 350 million, signaling investor caution. Now, this article is bringing up the fact that even though we are seeing quite a bit of outflows, $350 million has been pulled out of Bitcoin ETFs. They're saying this usually suggests that big institutional investors are becoming quite cautious. This is showing that institutional money is thinking that maybe, just maybe, Jason Casper is right about the 2-month time frame confirmed bearish divergence, which for the past 12 years has marked the top every single time for the next few months, right? Maybe that's what it thinks they mean. They're being cautious. They're reducing their exposure to Bitcoin. But here is something a little bit bullish about this, okay? There is something a little bit bullish about this, which is the fact that if 350 million can come out of Bitcoin ETFs and we can hold support, well, that's not as bearish maybe as people think. And speaking of ETF outflows, all right, speaking of ETF outflows and institutional money leaving Bitcoin, according to the Wall Street Journal, the most trusted financial publication in the world, Bitcoin keeps sliding and true believers keep on buying. All right. Bitcoin has dropped 20% over the past few months after a big surge earlier this year. Actually, from October 6th, Bitcoin is down about 36%. Many long-term crypto investors, according to this article from the Wall Street Journal, are not worried by the drop. They see volatility as normal and are continuing to buy and hodl Bitcoin even as the price slides. Some investors, according to the article, say that Bitcoin is still a good long-term asset, and experience with past crashes helps them stay calm instead of panicking. Stay calm and hodl, baby. Stay calm and hodl. So, you know what's funny is it's a weird time for the Wall Street Journal to be releasing this article on Bitcoin by Hannah Aaron Lang. Probably another name for ChatGPT, but that's okay. Bitcoin keeps sliding, true believers keep buying. Here's the thing, Bitcoin is a bullish asset, period, right? We look at the Bitcoin chart since inception. There is nothing bearish about this chart at all, all right? And historically speaking, if you have bought the all-time high, you ended up in quite a bit of profit. I mean, if you bought the all-time high in 2013, right? At that point, Bitcoin was only $1,000. At this point, you were up 7,000%. All right. If you bought the all-time high in 2021, at this point, you are up about 20%. An excellent day trade that only took 4 years to make 20% on your Bitcoin leveraged long trade. Of course, must have been really low leverage for that drop. But yes, of course, Bitcoin is a bullish asset. And historically speaking, if you are in Bitcoin for the long term, and if you recognize that big crashes are opportunities to DCA and accumulate a position, you're going to do pretty dang well for yourself. Now, the problem is, in my opinion, we are just beginning the pullback, right? We're in the early phases of what I think could take us down below $70,000, potentially below 60. And in my best case scenario for buying Bitcoin low, under 40K. All right, under 40K. So, another article here, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP drop further. This article is asking the question that a lot of people are asking, why is crypto not following gold? Typically, we see gold and Bitcoin trade together. But now we're seeing gold is basically pumping like crazy. Right now, $4,338.50 per ounce. And if we take a look at the 2-month time frame here, I mean, it's pretty much the opposite of Bitcoin, right? We do not have any bearish divergence on the 2-month. This is super dang bullish. Man, gold is unstoppable. Sheesh, man. gold is unstoppable at all-time highs, basically. And what's interesting, if we look at gold since, let's just look since October, where Bitcoin has topped out. That was right around here in October. You know, gold did get a little top, just like Bitcoin did in October. Except the top for gold was literally just a pullback, and now we're literally back to the all-time high. So the question is why, right? This article is asking the question why. And they have a few answers. Basically, according to this article, and again, I'm not really a gold guy, okay? I'm not a gold, well, I am a gold guy, but I don't trade gold. I hold gold. I believe gold is the ultimate preservation of purchasing power, period. Historically, for 5,000 years of recorded human history, gold is where it's at, all right? But according to this article, the reason why crypto is not behaving like gold is because investors don't view Bitcoin in the same way that they view gold, right? They don't view it as a safe asset, but they still view gold as a safe asset. That's what this article says. Is that true? It's impossible to know for sure, right? It's impossible to know for sure. But one thing is for sure. Historically speaking, gold is tried and true. Historically speaking, for the past 5,000 years of recorded history, gold has been a preserver of purchasing power. Since the United States, you know, I mean, yeah, we can pretty much go back to the 1800s here, the early 1800s, and see that gold, right, is inversely correlated to inflation, right? When the dollar goes off the gold standard, inflation goes out of control. It looks like the price of gold goes up, but really it's just the value of the dollar going down. And so it has been a really good preserver of purchasing power for centuries, as opposed to Bitcoin, which, hey, I'm a huge Bitcoin guy myself, but we've only been around since 2009. It hasn't even been 20 years. And in 20 years, you know, the price of Bitcoin has gone up, you know, about 17 billion%. So, you know, I can understand why people would be cautious putting their money into something that's gone up 17 billion% in less than 10 years as compared to something that has 5,000 years of steadily maintaining its purchasing power, right? Now, I don't know if that's why crypto is not following gold right now. I'll be honest. It is just an interesting take in the news right now, all right? So let's dive into this Bitcoin chart here, guys. Bitcoin has gotten a rejection from around $90,300. This is a significant level for a few reasons. If we go down to our 1 hour time frame, we can see, number one, that it's pretty much, we had this series of highs from around Sunday, and on Monday morning we were looking for basically these highs to get taken out, right? New York opened on Monday. I was actually looking for a short if we came up to these highs and then lost them. We never got to do that. But what we did do today is we came up and we took that liquidity, and we did so with some bearish divergence. All right, we have it on the 1 hour time frame. We have it even on the 24-minute time frame. As far as the money flow is concerned, right? Money flow getting lower. We go to our 12-minute time frame. And you know, this is quite interesting here. At the time of that rejection, the money flow was getting lower on the 12-minute. At the time of the rejection, the money flow was getting lower on the 12-minute. Now the money flow is actually starting to get thicker, all right? So we've had basically a big move back down. On the way up, this happened very, very quickly, right? This is the 12-minute chart. We go to literally in 10 minutes, guys, from the breakout of these highs, we had a massive pump. Definitely unsustainable. Like, this is never sustainable. And so we leave behind this big gap of volume, and then we fill that gap immediately. Now, I was actually expecting probably we were going to come down and backtest $88,000 for a bounce, but we fell through $88,000. And so let's pull the volume range, take a look at what we're doing now. Right now, we are at the value area low of this range. If we go ahead and we take the fib from the low to the high, we are bouncing from the 786, the value area low of the range, and we've just done something very similar to what we did at the highs. Is we had this liquidity down here at 86.2. We just dipped below it, and now we're attempting to right now form a bottom, make a high. We're trying to make a higher low right here, and we're trying now to get back into the range and make our way back up to around $88,000. Are we going to be able to do so? That's the big question. Well, let's go into a lower time frame here. On our 10-minute chart, you can see definitely we do have some nice bullish divergence with the momentum waves and the money flow. All right, our 12-minute chart, how's it looking? Bullish divergence, momentum, and money flow. Actually, it looks pretty good right now for a potential daily low to be in my opinion. Doesn't mean the daily low is in, but it definitely looks pretty good because we had this series of lows Wednesday at 36 minutes o'clock, and then again at 5 o'clock in the morning. This morning, we formed this nice low. We took the liquidity. Now, if we can reclaim the POC, that's at 87.1. That's our first major sign of strength, in which case, I would say, yeah, we might actually see the Bitcoin price continue in an uptrend from here. All right, we might actually see that. The reason I say we might see that is because if we look at the macro, what do we see? We see that we came down to a pretty key zone of support. That zone of support is obviously going to be the area between the 786 and the 886 Fibonacci from the low that we made in April 2025 to the all-time high. And from this bounce, we made a high, and now we're trying to make a higher low. All right, we're trying to make a higher low. If we pull the fib from the low we made Friday, November 21st to the current local high, you can see that we are bouncing from the Golden Pocket 786 zone. So this could be a place where we do see Bitcoin actually hold support and continue to the upside for more relief, maybe up towards $100,000 or above. The reasons why are because the weekly chart has given us a confirmed green dot, a confirmed bottom. Historically speaking, this signal on the weekly either marks the bottom or it tells us the bottom is very near. And when I say the bottom, guys, obviously I'm not talking about bear and bull market cycles. I'm talking about if we're in a trend, right? So if this is a downtrend, let's say this is a downtrend, it's that weekly is telling us it's time for a retracement up. Even if this is still a downtrend, the weekly is telling us it's time for a move to the upside. All right. If for some reason the bull market's still here, then yeah, we could get another high. But the weekly is telling us there's going to be a move to the upside, right? You don't just print a weekly green dot without expecting a move soon on the upside. So if this area holds here, yeah, we could see that move to the upside. And remember, what happened this morning is very shady in the sense that you can't expect a move like that. Look at that 1 hour candle, by the way. I mean, there's no wick to the upside. As soon as we get the break, it's just straight up in like 10 minutes. You would have to expect a move to the downside, okay? So let's see what's happening as we're coming to this area of support around $86,000. If we're not going to hold $86,000, well, then I would actually expect that we come and take that low at 85,000 again and probably head down towards 80K. But so far, it is holding. All right, the reason I say if we lose that low is probably going towards 80K is because remember what's happening here, guys. We have ourselves this, all right, we have this very clear trend line, the low, the low, the low. We lost it. Now we're back testing, okay? We're back testing, which means if we're not bouncing from here, remember, this is the golden pocket. So the two options right now are we're faking out to the downside, right? We're faking out the trend line just to bounce from the golden pocket and come back inside. This is what I actually thought was going to happen this morning. Option number two is we actually did break down. Now we're back testing and then we continue lower, right? It's a very key area because we're in between the major retracement support and this major resistance here. All right. I'm curious to see if I pull some fibs. Wow, we didn't hit the golden pocket. We didn't quite hit that golden pocket. Yeah, so we are. Let's see what happens here, guys. Got to give a major shout to everybody in the chat. Matic62 says you will get wrecked. Meme Fox says 46K. I would be ecstatic. They gonna learn no rush, says Hopium Copium. CBK Wahoo says Wall Street strikes again right at 9:30 on a dime. They dump at fib resistance along with vector recovery. Shout out to Smokey Sigs. 3221. ETH printed a red dot in the weekly today. We're going to be taking a look at ETH next. Long-term sure looks promising, says Meme Fox. Yeah, for sure. The high time frames for Bitcoin always look promising. What indicator is that? It's called Market Cipher B, baby. Shout out to Divine Hood. He says, bro, on aggregated OI, this is just a short squeeze. I mean, I would assume that's a short squeeze even without any indicator. I mean, I don't think you can just pump up like that in literally 10 minutes and not be a short squeeze. But that's a good reminder, Divine Hood, to let me take a look at order flow, actually. Let me take a quick look at the order flow. Yeah, look at that. I mean, this is a 15-minute candle here, and literally we saw open interest decrease like crazy. A big old red candle on open interest here. And from that point, we actually saw a bunch of shorts open. So big short squeeze, whole bunch of shorts open. Now we're actually starting to see some longs opening up in this area. Which is not, we don't have any bearish CVD yet. Yeah, we don't really have any local bullish or bearish CVD in this area. But this is a pretty key support where we're at right now. Okay, we're basically back testing the highs that we had here from Monday, which was flipped into support on Tuesday, which was support all this morning. We had a big old short squeeze, a bunch of shorts open up. We're back to where we started this morning. We're literally back to where we started this morning. And yeah, it's a very important support for Bitcoin. My next take profit on the short is going to be taking out 85,142. You guys can see I've accidentally closed out of that long trade I was in. I actually did not mean to close out of it, but I did by accident. So that's a bit of a bummer. But thankfully I caught a little short here. All right. Thankfully I caught a little short. Alts are going to hit major bargain buys if you believe in the alts. Yeah, it seems that way, man. How did I know to short from 90K this morning? So here's how I knew to short from 90K this morning. I'll be totally honest with you, all right? I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. Please don't tell my wife. I had to go to the hardware store this morning to get some straw and also to drop off some packages at a UPS pickup spot, all right? When I was driving, I got an alert on my phone. All right, I was by myself, no kids in the car, no wife in the car. Bad decision, bad decision. I got the alert that the price was at $90,300 from my phone, okay, while driving. I did not look at the chart. I took a short and I put the stop loss above the high, and then I went about my day, okay? I didn't know we had this drop until I come home and I open the computer and we're like way down here. And so I took out half the trade. The reason why I shorted that without looking is because this morning, as I did my analysis, as I set my alerts for the day, I knew that this was a very key level. I knew I was expecting to have a potential short scalp from this level. All right, had a very key area of confluence. Now, as I got into the car to go, Bitcoin was like we were like at $88,000. All right, we were at $88,000. All right, so I'm getting in the car, I'm starting the car, I'm pulling out, right? I know Bitcoin's at 88,000. All right. All of a sudden, a few minutes later, I get an alert that we're at 90,300. Which means I knew from the few minutes I got into my car to the time the alert went off, we had something crazy like this, right? And I knew we were at key resistance. So I took a short because typically you can't get a big move like this without some kind of rejection. And it was a very low risk trade, like a very low risk trade. All right. It was a very low risk trade. By the time I got into the trade, we had already rejected. We were back under 90K. All right. We'd already come down almost $400. So for me, it was a no-brainer. A no-brainer. Take a short, stop above the high, and then see what happens. All right. Now again, this is not me coming to the chart randomly and shorting because there's a pump, right? This is a key level that I had marked on my chart this morning during my analysis, where I was expecting at least a move down to backtest this this kind of trend line here. All right, at least the backtest to come and backtest this, right? And so that's why I took that trade. It was not like a blind trade. I was already aware of what was happening on the chart. But here's the thing. Sadly, in my doing all this, I ended up closing out of a long trade that I was in from, well, you guys saw the long trade I was in yesterday and the day before, right? So that's a little bit of a bummer. But it's a very key level. Whenever you pump up quick to a key level, or dump really quick to a key level, like within minutes like that, most of the time, you're going to get a fast reaction from that level. Don't trade and drive, guys. Don't trade and drive. Please don't trade and drive. All right, so Dread Mining used the Divine Hood Pitchfork. That's what's up. Please don't trade and drive, by the way. All right, so let's take a look at some other things here. Let's take a look at ETH quickly, because ETH also is dumping like a wild lady in distress. Man, oh man, would you look at ETH here. Let's go to a different chart on ETH. So ETH is actually losing its current low here at the bottom of the range, unlike Bitcoin, right? ETH has lost the low of the range here. So I'd say this for ETH, like, if Bitcoin can hold here, I would expect ETH to try and come back inside the local range, maybe come up towards 2950. But, man, we'll start on the weekly for ETH. Now remember, the context of ETH is that we have confirmed a weekly green dot. All right, now as my friend in the chat just mentioned, we have a weekly red dot printing now, which is pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. Here's what I would say about it. I still believe that when you have weekly bottoms like this, then we are going to get a move up soon, all right? For example, look at this. We had a nice weekly green dot. Then we had 2 weeks of downside, but that did not negate the fact, guys, that the low was still in and we got a move up, all right? We see it happen quite often. For example, here, we get the green dot, a couple weeks of downside, but then that does not negate the fact that the low is generally in, all right? Whenever you play the game of red dot, green dot on the weekly, down low like this, look at, we get the green dot, we come down, but then we end up, that is the low, right? So I'm still going to go with that. I'm still going to go with saying the low for ETH, and when I say the low, I mean before the relief. I believe there is some real relief coming. I don't believe we're going to be able to just come down like this right now without some kind of relief, right? We need some kind of bull trap. If we want to come lower, we need some kind of relief. People are out, right? ETF money is out. Retail money is out. All right, we need to entice some money back in before we can push it down lower. All right. So the way I'm going to look at this is I'd say maybe we could range in this area a little bit longer, but then I would still expect that we could see ETH make another higher high locally here. Maybe come up towards $4,000. Like that is a very reasonable target. Just squeeze this disgusting move to the downside here. All right. Another reason why I feel this way about ETH is simply because of the Bitcoin chart, right? Remember, Bitcoin right now is coming down to extremely important support. All right, this is extremely important support. Something like this would look very bullish on the chart, right? Or something like this would look very bullish on the chart. I don't think Bitcoin is going to be able to lose this key box of support very easily. And I think we're going to have some kind of relief. If Bitcoin gets relief, ETH is also going to get some relief. And this is very easy to squeeze, this move to the downside, all right? So will it happen right now? It's very hard to say right now. But it's still something I expect based on our higher term timeframes. First local sign of strength for ETH, obviously, is going to be a reclaim of 28.66 on Bybit inverse perpetual. We look at the 1 hour time frame. We do see some slight bullish divergence. The 4 hour, maybe we could have some bull div. Things would have to happen perfectly. 24 minute looking decent here. All right, for some potential divergences. And so, yeah, I'd say ETH and Bitcoin both at key supports. Both of these areas are areas to look to hold for upside. If we can't hold them, then I would say Bitcoin and ETH probably going to go for the lows, which would just basically, look, it would be a range like this, something like that. And then if we're super bearish, we could continue down. But I think in the context of this right here being our sideways range, I say that this is not anything to be concerned about, even because we're looking for a bottom to come in soon based on our weekly. And this would be actually a beautiful bullish setup here to get into, in my opinion, a long trade, something like this, right? Something like this, up towards this area. That's a beautiful risk to reward. And even if we don't hit that, even if we're only coming up to the previous high, that's still about a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. Like if we form a sideways range here, and this is our high, and this was our initial low, we take the low, we get to move up, we just grab that high and then come back down. Even that's a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. It's a pretty good trade setup for ETH, right? I feel like that is something that could happen. Of course, if we flip $4,000 into support, then I would not be surprised if we see a new all-time high in ETH. Even if Bitcoin doesn't hit a new all-time high, ETH could still hit an all-time high, because once we're above $4,000, you can see what a critical level it is and how easily we could squeeze the rest of that yellow bearish banana pattern. The bearish banana pattern, the BBP, all right? You heard of the BBL. It's the BBP, all right? The BBP. The old BBP. Now, let's take a look here at ETH. Also is losing the trend line locally here, right? This is the daily time frame. So this is the first day that ETH potentially could close the candle below this trend line. So again, it's a very critical day for Bitcoin and ETH because, you know, I would say the daily close below is a big sign of weakness for ETH, right? Because with this, now we are losing that key trend line. Also, we pulled the fib low to high, and you know we're closing below the Fibonacci golden pocket. Not really the best look, but a reclaim would look pretty nice. And same with the Bitcoin, right? This is going to be confluence with the Bitcoin because right now we know that, like, let's say the daily candle closes blue. Let's say the daily candle closes blue. That would look really nice. We had a move to the downside. We tried to reject, but we couldn't. We closed the candle blue. That would look pretty nice, okay? As long as we were trading within this zone here, and I would really extend it, as long as we were trading within this kind of like sideways area of consolidation here, I'd say this is Chop City. This is definitely a good place to be looking for trades that you look to hold to much bigger price targets. Like, for example, you know, while we're in this area, obviously the short trades I'm taking, I'm looking to hold portions of them in case of a big breakdown. But the opposite is true of longs. Like long trades that I'm in from here, I am looking to hold in case of a breakout, right? As long as we're within this range, I'd say it's pretty neutral in the short term, right? In the very short term. In the medium term, I'm expecting a move to the upside. And in the large term, I'm expecting a move to the downside. So 2-month time frame, I'm expecting downwards in the next few candles, okay? So the 2-month time frame, eventually, I'm expecting to be coming down to lower targets. All right, our weekly time frame, I'm expecting to come up to some locally higher targets like this. But then as we start to come down to the daily, we start to come down to the 4 hour, I am pretty neutral as to what happens first, either move to the top of this sideways range or move to the bottom of this sideways range. I could see it kind of going either way, right? Something else to keep in mind here is that we have seen a decrease of open interest throughout the entirety of this range. So we go to the 6-hour time frame, and since November 21st, we have seen just people closing out of their positions, right? There's no real interest in this. This is obviously coupled with, you know, millions of dollars leaving Bitcoin ETFs. And so, yeah, it's not the most active market in the world, all right? Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance. Wow, so Bitcoin dominance is pumping, which honestly, this is not really what we would want to see for like altcoins, man. This is not what we want to see for altcoins, right? The potential scenario that we were looking at of like some altcoin pumps in December and January, which, look, it could still happen. But one of the main metrics we need to be looking at is Bitcoin dominance. And we don't want to see Bitcoin dominance start to reverse and start printing higher highs and higher lows on the daily, which we actually are starting to run the risk of doing today, right? If we close this daily candle at 59% or above Bitcoin dominance, then that is going to be officially now changing bearish market structure into bullish market structure on our local daily downtrend ever since breaking down from that channel. So yeah, not necessarily the best look, but if we zoom out and we go to the weekly time frame, we still are maintaining a larger downtrend, right? We zoom out here, and from the high that we made in June, we're still maintaining a larger downtrend of, you know, high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. I won't include October 10th. So this lower high, as long as we don't take this high out, then that structure of, you know, high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, you know, could still be a thing, right? Could still be a thing. So that is something to keep in mind here. However, we are like running out of time, because in my opinion, if we're going to have like this relief, it's going to have to happen before February. Like, it's got to happen in the next like 6 weeks. Otherwise, I don't think we could really see those gains we were looking at. Let's take a quick look at altcoin dominance here. Now, this is not what we want to see if we want to make gains on altcoins. We're seeing Bitcoin outperforming altcoins right now. Altcoin market cap back down into the box. All right. The hopes and dreams of reclaiming the trend line so far have not been realized. Let's take a look at USDT dominance as well. Okay, so USDT dominance, guys, is potentially looking to break out of this range. And here's the thing. I mean, I'll just say it how it is here. If we close the December candle above this level, that is a very bearish sign for crypto. That is not good. That is really not good. Reason is because we have not been able to close the monthly candle above this level literally since we lost it. That's back in November 2023. All right, November 2023. So this key area of support, this was support throughout the entire bear market, right? Now remember, this is inversely correlated to Bitcoin. So when USDT is trading in this range up here, this is where Bitcoin's in the heat of the bear market. We come back up into this zone. This is bear market territory, right? People are moving their crypto into stablecoins because of the bear market, and they don't want to be exposed to risk. All right, so that's not really what we want to see. We would like to see us be unable to close candles above this level. We would like to see USDT dominance come down. We would like to see altcoin dominance go up, Bitcoin dominance come down. That would allow us to see some gains maybe in the next 6 weeks on altcoins, potentially some altcoins maybe hitting some all-time highs, but at the very least some altcoins making some good percent gains. You know, even if we're not looking for all-time highs, there's still good percent gains to be made here. Now, Bitcoin, let's see, we're chopping around here, Chop City. We're going to take a look at the lower time frame order flow here. What's been happening here? So, all right, we saw a bunch of shorts open up on the way down. Then we saw a bunch of longs open up here. Interestingly enough, we saw longs and shorts open up here. But in general, we saw more longs opening up here. Now it's just kind of flat. Flat open interest. It's looking pretty flat. It's looking pretty flat. Let's pop into the chat. Looking pretty flat over in the chat. What about that? Yeah, historically, December, Bitcoin's been like a stable coin. I mean, I remember... I remember December 2022. It was basically like we were in like a 1% range for like 3 weeks. Yeah, flat as a pancake. Shout out to Baru. He says, guess what? Glycine is needed for NAC for your immune system, man. Glyphosate goes into the immune system. Thanks, Bill Gates. Yeah, NAC, man. I have supplemented with that in the past. Heard of that. This guy can analyze while running at 10 miles per hour. It's actually only 3 miles per hour. What's this portal to Bitcoin? That was Market Monkey. Heartsman. Chart is extremely bearish no matter what. Well, yeah, I do have to say I am personally of the view that we are heading into a bear market that will probably be here for the next 9 months or so. All right. So if a baby is conceived tonight, the birthday will be the beginning of the bull market. All right. If you want your child to be born into the bull market, if you want to be bullish on your baby, tonight's the night to take action. All right. Every bounce is a dead cat fake bounce. Yeah, there hasn't been much volume coming in this entire range. 72 to 74.1. Wick on the menorah. That's where you think we're going to come down to? 74. 72 to 74.1. A wick on the menorah. Here's the thing. I definitely do think, I'm definitely of the belief that we can get a bounce from the bottom of this range here. But I personally think it's going to result in a lower high. But yeah, I do think it will result in a lower high. Orange Man has a speech soon. Also bleeding out. Yeah, it's bad. Shout out to Dave Digital. He says, hey Jay, do you enjoy a big old pot of beans? Yeah, man, I do. I do enjoy a big old pot of beans. Navy beans, Great White Northern beans, even pinto beans, black beans. A big old pot of beans, man. And you cook it on the stove. Make sure to soak them. Soak them with some apple cider vinegar. Get all those phytic acids out, right? Then you cook them. You could use a pressure cooker. And I like to keep them in the fridge, and they get kind of like jellyish. Then I just take out a big old scoop of these wet, cold beans and plop them on top of whatever I'm eating. And man, they are good. Dave Digital. They are good. Shout out to Afterglow Gaming. God bless you, man. You're going to DCA long at 84, 80 range. Okay, make sure you're using good risk management, honestly. What are my Christmas plans? We're doing literally nothing. Literally nothing. Splash Our Films loves some baked beans. Now, baked beans. What am I eating for Christmas? The same thing I eat every single day. For breakfast, I'm going to have fruits and vegetables, eggs, dairy, maybe some oats, maybe some beans. Have the same exact thing for lunch and probably the same exact thing for dinner. If I eat 3 meals. Was that pump our relief rally? Here's the thing. I don't think so. Was the pump already our relief rally? I'll tell you why I don't think this was the relief rally. I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people were expecting a relief rally, myself included. And when a lot of people are expecting something, it usually doesn't happen. But here is what I think is more likely. All right. I think that because we've seen big time seller exhaustion here, we've seen institutional money leave, retail money leave, leverage traders wrecked. All right. Everybody sidelined. What we did is we have this little rollover here, and now everybody's going to be now just, all right, that's it. Like, this thing sucks. There's no relief. It's over, right? And then we get the relief. All right. And the reason why I say that is, again, because even when you see, like, let's just take a look. All right. Let's just take a look. Even in the choppiest worst case scenarios, like let's go back to July 2024. We print a green dot on the weekly, right? That green dot on the weekly marks literally from that low that we made, all right? That was the bottom, all right? Yeah, we went to chop city. Yeah, if you're leverage trading this, you're getting chopped, okay? But you cannot print the green dot on the weekly without the bottom being at least very close, all right? Without the bottom being at least very close. I mean, here, for example, we print the green dot and we get a big move to the upside. The next green dot we print right here, again, this green dot confirms on a purple candle. The following week, we get a little move to the downside. But if we take our tool, right, we get the confirmation of the green dot, then we print a red dot, we make a slightly lower low. But then for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, for the next 6 weeks, we end up with a 20% move to the upside, all right? And then, of course, FTX goes down. It's my personal opinion, and this is just my opinion. My personal opinion is that Bitcoin would not have lost this level if not for FTX. I think FTX pushed us below that. The reason I say that is because no other coin lost its June low other than Bitcoin during that cycle. But yeah, so I just, like, even here, like, let's take a look at this instance, right? This is, I'd say, similar to where we are now. This is the first green dot printing in the bear market last cycle, right? We get the green dot, we get the red dot, we come down, but the low is not in, and then boom, we do make another higher high, right? So I don't think, because the green dot has confirmed, even in an extremely bearish looking scenario, these weekly green dots, they are no joke. Like, they really are no joke. So therefore, I don't think this is the relief yet, right? I don't think it's yet. I think it's going to take a little bit more time. And I say that because we're going to look at historic bottoms on the weekly for Bitcoin, for ETH, and see that even in Chop City, where it looks bullish and then it looks bearish and then it looks bullish and then it looks bearish, what's going to happen? The reality is, when we have oversold waves on the weekly that are printing bottoms, the bottom is very near, and we're probably going to see more upside. And so that does line up still with my thesis of getting a rally into around the beginning of February, right? That's going to give us about 6 weeks or so of potential upside to hit some of those targets, all right? So I don't think this was the relief, right? I've seen a lot of people calling for relief as well, but that's, as a trader right now, the two main areas I'm interested in for longs would be obviously a fake out of this low or a fake out of this low, right? If we were going to look at this and say, okay, I'm expecting a scenario similar to what happened back here, I expect some relief, but I don't know exactly when to get in. Where would I get in? Well, the two obvious places to look to get in on like a leverage trade would be a fake out of 80K, right? Fake out of 80K, which in and of itself, even if we don't make a higher high, is still almost a 6-to-1 risk reward. Assuming we make a higher high and we come back up to, you know, let's say we do hit the POC at 96, that's a 7-to-1 risk reward, give or take, with a 3% stop loss, or a fake out of the overall range down here. In which case, if we fake out the overall range, then I'd be shooting for our local Fibonacci golden pocket. You know, that's going to be back at around the support resistance flip that we had up here, right? This area right here. these are both like good trades to take, and these are both scenarios that I do think really could play out given the overall context of the big bottoms. Okay, now nothing's guaranteed in trading, but I'm pretty sure, and because I've gone back, I've really been diligent to look at every instance where we have a green dot for the past 3 market cycles on the weekly time frame in bear and bull markets, and pretty much every single time when we print that bottom, the bottom is either in or very near. And if we're going to get another drop, it's going to just be a fake out. It's going to be a fake out. After printing the green dot in the weekly, the next move to the downside is a fake out. All right, maybe this will be the first time where we print a green dot on the weekly and then we just go straight down. Like, maybe that would happen. But I doubt it, you know? I doubt it. We'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. Shout out to Make Me a Millie in the house. God bless you, bro. Holding it down with the wrench. Good to see you here, man. You can make so much money longing and shorting, says John Davis. He turned 100,000 into 200K and then stopped. I guess you posted a whole bunch of messages that I can't read them all. But John Davis thinks we go to 75-ish. Yeah, that's one scenario. Lose 80K and get the fake out. 100-week SMA acting as support, says Dread Mining. Bounce to 50 SMA would be interesting. Let's check out these SMAs. 100-week SMA. Week SMA acting as support. 50 SMA. I'm assuming you're talking about the 50-week SMA. That would be super interesting, Dread Mining. Around 102. You know what other nice confluences we have there is... I guess not the golden pocket. Was that the anchored VWAP? Yeah, the anchored VWAP of the high right now from October 6th is also right there. And I mean, what else do we have there? The October 10th wick back test, right? The October 10th wick is right here, literally lining up perfectly with that. And it is the support resistance flip from the high that we made in right around here. I mean, it's not an exact level, but I would say like this here, roughly on the weekly chart. This is rough resistance with the wicks, and then rough support. That would be really interesting. Do we have any other fib complements there? Let's pull it from this lower high. Wow, so it is the golden pocket if we're going to pull it from the lower high that we made on October 27th, the week of October 27th. Yeah, that would be really, really interesting to come up to this area and then continue down. I mean, that would be really technical and really nice, actually. Bitcoin trying to get a little bounceroni in queso right now. 100K, baby. What happened to the 100K song? It's still here. It's still around. You can find it. Guys, make sure to smash the likes. We have over 1,000 people in the house. We only have 300 likes. Let's see if we can get 1,000. Let's see if everyone can like the video. If everyone can like the video in 3 minutes, I'll give away $500. How about that? I mean 5 minutes. We'll give it 5 minutes. When the timer goes off, we will give away $500 if we can get everyone to like the video. Bobby1376 says it would be crazy if we could relief rally back to 110 to 120 in the first half of January, make a lower high and then dump. Yeah, that would catch a lot of people off guard, including myself, because let's see. Is that the value area high? That would catch me off guard. I would not be ready for that. Is that our 886? Actually, let's put on our 886. Bobby's getting me thinking here. Yeah, Bobby, you know, I see what you're saying, man. Bobby's looking basically for this. Let's take a quick look at what Bobby's saying here. You know, he's saying that we're going to get a rejection from the zone between the 786 and the 886. Now, where did we bounce from other than the zone between the 786 and the 886? And so a rejection from that same area would catch a lot of people off guard because we would be above most of the resistances. We would be above value area high of range. And yeah, rejection from that 886 would catch a lot of people off guard because we would say, yeah, the probabilities are that we take the high. But we don't take the high, we just come up to the 886 and drop. And this is a move that Bitcoin does love. Bitcoin loves the 886 rejection. Look at this. You guys remember this one? Do you guys remember this one? Back in June 24? The good old 886 rejection, baby. And then that wasn't the only time. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, the second time as well. Look at that. The second time as well. Right to the 886 rejection. Bitcoin loves the 886 rejection. And also, if I'm not mistaken, in this range, I'm pretty sure we end up with an 886 bounce somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. I am mistaken, I guess. Where did we... I remember finding 886 support somewhere. I don't remember where. I remember somewhere in this range. I was surprised. I remember posting about it in the Discord saying, look at that, the 886 is being respected out the wazoo. Bitcoin loves that 886 rejection. And sometimes that 886 bounce. You know? But that is a nice scenario, Bobby. Like, yeah, for a lower high. Something to be aware of for sure. I'm going to keep that in the back. I'm going to keep that one in the back. I wonder where the anchored VWAP of this entire uptrend is. Right around 67. Man, if we lose this, man, it's going to be crazy. Let's take it from this low here. Oof. Oof. Man, that doesn't look so great, does it? We got some super chats in the house. First of all, Dave Digital. He says, why are you so weird? Who puts cold beans on stuff? I'm just a weird guy. You know what it is, Dave Digital? I hate taking time. Right? I don't like to use microwaves, alright? I'm one of those crazies. I don't use microwaves. I'm not gonna heat stuff up in the oven. I don't have time for that. I'm not gonna heat stuff up in a pot. I don't have time for that. I'm too hungry. Alright, if I heat it up, it's gonna burn my tongue. Alright, so I just plop the cold beans on stuff, bro. That's the way to go. Cold beans is the way to go. Shout out to Muhammad4474. He says, can you do a Bitcoin analysis across different time frames? How's the 15-minute looking? Sure, man. Thank you for the super chat. I mean, we kind of already did in the beginning of the stream, but we'll do it again. So the weekly makes me think a relief rally is very, very near. All right. Well, 2 month makes me think the bull market's over. All right. Did we get 1,000 likes? My timer's going off. $500 giveaway. Dang it! No, we didn't do it. Alright, can we do it in another 5 minutes? Let's see. 2 month, I think the bull market's over. I think the beginning, first 3 quarters of 2026 is going to be bearish. Weekly, I'm expecting our first retracement. The first retracement potentially is going to take us up to around this area here. Or maybe 120, like our friend Bobby was talking about. Or a higher high, doesn't matter because this is our sideways range right here, and so therefore I believe the top is in, and so we trade in this sideways range. We're not going to break out again, but then we're going to come down. All right, the weekly time frame is making me think we're going to get some move to the upside soon to continue to trade within this range. All right, we go down to the daily time frame, and ambiguous. All right, 4-hour time frame, ambiguous. It's pretty ambiguous, right? This potentially is a hidden bullish divergence here. Money flow looks decent. It's ambiguous, I'd say. The lower we get, the more ambiguous it is, bro. If I was going to be looking for local trades, all right, I would say, based on our 15-minute time frame here, I would say there definitely was a long, which I did not take, by the way, but it was a valid long entry to like long this, based on the bullish divergence in the money flow as we take that liquidity. Other than that, locally, like I would be aware of taking out Monday's low, right? Taking out Monday's low with bullish divergences for a potential long trade. The overall trend here, I'd say, since Wednesday, December 3rd is down, right? So I would be maybe interested in long term here. Other than that, locally, the areas of liquidity. So 83.7, look for a fake out of that for a potential long. And then we're looking at fake out of 80K for potential long. For short trades, honestly, the short, I'd say for today, there were 2 potential shorts. The first one would have been a simple liquidity grab of this, which obviously never happened, right? We did not even have time to take that trade because we never even pretended to get a fake out from that level. And then the second area to look for the short trade was between 89.6 and 90.3, this high volume node area, which we did get the rejection from right now. It's very difficult for me to say where I would look for a short right now. I would want to see us make another higher high before I look for a short, to be honest with you. Just because of this craziness that's already happened here. If we start to get the move back up, we could just as easily come up as quick as we came down, as quick as we went up. I mean, this has been the land of Bart Simpson patterns. You know, one thing for certain about this Bitcoin price action is fast move up, fast move down equals just as equal move in the other direction. I mean, literally since November 20th. Fast move down, fast move up, 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 fast move down, fast move down, fast move up. Like, it's just crazy. So the way I'm approaching this really is, you know, just wait for those areas, those liquidity grabs, and then just assume until this pattern stops that we're gonna fill these big moves that happen so quick, you know? I'd say, yeah, if we start to get a move up, I would expect now that we would make a higher high. And I say that because we're bouncing from a Fibonacci golden pocket and we are continuing to hold this. And, you know, if we had ignored, let's say, for example, we hadn't really gotten this big old fake out here, we'd still be like something like this, right? So, yeah, it becomes more ambiguous on Bitcoin as we go to lower time frames, to be honest with you. But thank you so much for the super chat. All right. $13 Bart Simpson haircuts, more than JC haircut. Yeah, I haven't cut my hair in a while. I'm thinking I'm going to cut my hair tomorrow. Or maybe Friday. I used to cut my hair every Friday. It's getting a little long here. Look at this toupee. CBK is long from here for a couple more months. You know, I can't hate on that, man. I cannot hate on that. Shout out to the 11 Cure. Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, the 11 Cure? What's up? Yo. How hard is it to like the video? Freaking mind-blowing, says Notorious Skate. Look, I get it, right? I get it. You didn't know Americans ate beans? I feel like most Americans don't eat beans, okay? Most Americans don't eat beans. All right, unless they're like eating them from like Taco Bell, I think. But as far as I'm aware, most Americans' diet is absolutely atrocious. All right, most Americans, most of their diet is not even food. All right. You ever go to the grocery store and look at the people's cart behind you? It's like not food. It's like all this like boxed, processed, who the heck knows what, weirdo stuff, frozen. It's like not even real food, right? So, but, you know, I have not been to a grocery store in a very long time. But I remember one of the last times I went, I was with my wife, and the cashier asked if we were vegetarians. Simply because we had a lot of vegetables in the cart and fruits. And we're like, no, we're not. But there's like, I've never seen somebody get so many vegetables. It's crazy, you know? All right, we're getting a little bit of a drip, drip, drop. Drippity, drip, drip, drop, baby. Bitcoin dropping. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Bitcoin dropping. Here we go. Listen to my crypto flow. Don't you know? My friend's name is Joe. We got the purple candles coming out the window. Oh man, we are dumping, baby. Let's see if we're not going to go for the 85 142 take profit. Man, we are pumping. When I say pumping, I mean we're dumping. But we could flip this upside down to feel better about ourselves. Man, we are pumping, baby. Come on, Bitcoin. Upside down short trade, baby. Veggies are expensive. Nah, that's not true. It's way cheaper to eat a healthy diet than a fake processed diet. It's way cheaper. Way cheaper. I don't think veggies are expensive. But what do I know? I mean, literally, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what anything costs anymore. I'll be honest with you. Back before I was a crypto millionaire, I know that you can eat really healthy, really cheap, because that's what we did, all right? That's what we did. We were big time penny pinchers back in the day. Bounce incoming, says Steve D. Hoop. Is Solana going to take the low? Let's check out Sol. Solana has taken the low. Oh, Solana's going to take the low. Let's put it on a good old market cipher B. Wow. Sol could take the low, and honestly, it might look pretty bullish there. Let's set a little soul alert, you know, to satisfy my soul. Will it satisfy my soul? Let's take a look at this. You don't eat veggies except potatoes and corn? Tanzania beans, lover paradise. That's what's up. Yeah, Sol does look kind of bullish if it takes that low. Dave Digitally super cheap. People live 110 years on rice and beans. I mean, rice and beans, honestly, I feel like you can't go wrong. I mean, I love me some rice and beans, I'll be honest with you. Now, I don't really eat rice much anymore. I'm more of a quinoa guy. But I have survived many years on rice and beans. And honestly, you get some rice and some beans and some eggs and some butter, and you got yourself a delicious, nutritious, protein-packed, powerhouse, calorie-dense meal. Honestly. What's this song called? I don't know. Shout out to Anthony Lee Crypto. He says, brutal leg day today. Love it. I'm glad to hear it, man. Shout out to the brutal leg days. I had a decently brutal leg day on Monday night. It was decently brutal. What do I think of carnivore? Well, I don't want to offend any carnivores out there. I know everyone's super dogmatic about their diet, and whatever works for you is great for you. But personally, for me, the first thing I hate about carnivore is the fact that it's very unsustainable from a self-sufficiency mindset, all right? I'm a homesteader. I grow my own food. I raise my own animals. If I wanted to actually be carnivore, I would not be able to raise that many animals. I would not be able to have that much feed. It's unsustainable to eat your dang tomahawk steak every night. And all this butter, where are you going to get all this butter from? And all this, like, and all this meat. It's unsustainable. If you're living off the land, that's very unsustainable. Okay? And if you're a hunter-gatherer, like they say everybody was millions of years ago, then you're not eating thick, fatty cuts of meat every night. You're maybe, if you're lucky, gonna eat some, like, squirrel or whatever the heck you can catch. A little bit here, a little bit there, and split it between the whole tribe. Right? So I think the way, like, the Liver King style carnivore is totally, like, fake. It's like a first world fantasy. It's unsustainable. The second thing I hate about carnivore is I believe that our body runs primarily off of carbohydrates and glucose, and that it's much more efficient to put glucose into your body for energy than it is to put fat into your body and then have your body take this fat and turn it into glucose through gluconeogenesis. It's very inconvenient for your body to do that. And so if you're trying to do things like, I don't know, lift weights, go outside and work the land and have energy to play with your kids, then you're not going to get that from eating just fat and protein. Now, there's some exceptions. If you're fat and sick and diabetic because you spent your whole life eating a standard American crap diet, and then all of a sudden you switch to carnivore, you're probably going to feel really, really good for a while as your body gets back down to a normal weight, as your metabolic health starts to repair itself, right? But if you're like a normal, active person that's not overweight, that's metabolically healthy, carnivore is not good for you, probably, right? And again, I cannot think of a certain instance in human history where it would have been feasible for 99.9% of humans to eat carnivore. Maybe like kings, maybe like rich, wealthy kings that could have whatever they wanted. But your average person out there, they had their one fatted calf a year, and that's all they had, you know? And the rest was carbohydrates. So that's how I feel about it. I don't mean to offend any carnivores out there. If you're a carnivore and it's working great for you, then God bless you. God bless you and your carnivore diet, all right? But I prefer to eat lots and lots of plants. Lots of plants that I can grow. You know, you can grow plants. It's so easy to grow squash. It's so easy to grow beans. It's so easy to grow potatoes. They're full of calories. They're full of nutrients. They're full of energy. They're sustainable. Like, when I say sustainable, I don't mean it in some gay, progressive kind of like George Soros way, right? I don't mean it in like a fat beta male cuck kind of progressive United Nations way, all right? I don't mean it in a Justin Trudeau kind of like gay pride parade wearing blackface kind of way. I mean sustainable like for normal humans, where you have your land that God has blessed you with, you have your seeds, you plant them in the ground, and it's not going to take a lot of resources in order to continuously provide food for yourself. As opposed to if you're raising beef cattle, on your land as your average Joe guy. I'm not talking about a farmer. I'm not talking about a rancher. Your average guy. It's not sustainable to live off of beef. All right? Much more sustainable to live off potatoes, beans, and eggs. You know, eggs are very sustainable. Do I think my ancestors had a lot of plants? I'm Cuban, bro. I need to get back to Cuba. This is a market order short. All right? Market order short. Where's the fee? Position order history. Market. Wait, that's not it. Open short. Market price. 89,949. Market order short. Market order short. Market short, baby. Market short, baby. Market short, baby. These are all market trades. All right. People ask, Jay, how do you get such juicy entries? I'll tell you. It was a key level. That's all. It was a key level. They're not always this juicy. It was just a key level. The Lord had favor on me on this one. Shout out to our super chats. Shout out to Robert. He says XRP analysis. Yeah, shout out to Still DB. Yeah, eggs, guys. The egg code for today is lime. All right, lime, like not a lemon, but a lime. Lime. But yeah, we'll check out some XRP analysis real quick here. Wow, XRP has taken the... we didn't take the low. That's crazy. Man, imagine if we don't take these lows. I would love to see XRP take the low right now for a nice little bounce with some bull divs. That would be nice. I think Solana looks like she wants to take the low. Let's check out the weekly on XRP. Now, XRP has not been looking as nice as some of these other assets here. You know, we were saying if ETH starts to squeeze, we could see XRP start to squeeze this. But so far, XRP did not even attempt to squeeze this. The weekly is not printing a bottom yet, unlike a lot of other assets. The 4-day is not looking that great on the bottom compared to a lot of other assets. Sadly, I hate to be that guy, but it's just true. The daily money flow coming down. Momentum has not bottomed out yet. Honestly, XRP looks a lot weaker than a lot of other assets right now. Let's clear everything off. And let's just kind of analyze all of this here. I mean, we're basically trading within this giant range. Let's pull it from the high in 2021. Just curious. Yeah, so, you know, interestingly enough, like, if this range is not going to hold, right, because this is obviously our range here. I'm going to ignore the October 10th wick. All right, if the bottom of this range doesn't hold, if we're not going to hold $1.60, then I would not be surprised if we come back down to test the last support resistance flip on the weekly time frame, which would be right around the value area high, right? But before we do that, I would be aware of a simple... We'll ignore the October 10th wick because that is a scam wick here, right? We'll just use a line chart, really. I would basically be looking for us to close back above this level and say, okay, this could be a nice bottom on the weekly to give us some relief towards either the top of the range or to make a lower high at the historic area before coming back down. That's how I would kind of look at this. But XRP sadly does not look as nice as some of the other assets, right? The gold, bro. Gold is pumping, man. Gold is pumping. When did I add the stop loss for the short? Literally, the moment I took the trade, I added that stop loss. The moment I took the trade. Does it show here? Close short, open short. I canceled that order. No, it doesn't tell me when I put the stop loss, but literally the moment I entered the trade. Because I told the store about, I took this trade while I was driving. Big mistake. Please don't ever do it. Please don't ever do it. Please don't ever do it. Okay. All right. Please don't do it. But I set the stop loss at the high. Like in the app on the phone, it tells you the high, right? If you look at the chart, it said 93.53. I said, all right, I'll put my stop loss above that 93.60. Took the trade, closed the phone, went on driving, and came back to profit. All right. All right. Are we going to take the low for some of these assets here? Sol gonna take this low? Well, can you imagine if Sol takes the $94,000 low? That would be insane, man. Well, right now we're going for the low on Monday, November 17th, the week of. That was Friday the 21st. Solana going for the low from Friday the 21st. And then after that, we've got the low way down at 95. All right, major shout out to Noah. Says we have SUI. Yeah, we'll take a quick look at SUI. I don't mean to offend any carnivores out there. Look, I know diet's super like personal. If you feel good, then keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, I've tried carnivore. I've tried vegan. For me, I've landed on a. I'm gonna sound vegan when I say a whole food, plant-based diet with meat and eggs and dairy on the side. Pretty much, that's my diet. The majority of my diet is whole food, plants, and then I do eat a lot of animal protein. Like, that's where I get my protein. But if you're gonna look at my plate, the protein is like a tiny little bit, and then tons of fruits and vegetables and roots and all that stuff. Right? All right, this is SUI. I try not to eat anything that has more than one ingredient. Unless it's like, you know, obviously like made from real food ingredients. So we'll ignore that October 10th wick, but honestly, this is not looking the best for SUI because we are back testing key resistance. Key support flipped into resistance. Let's go ahead and pull our fib from low to high. We're losing the golden we're losing the 786. I would say our next target would be around $1. Let's pull it from here. I mean, if we're not going to reclaim the support at $1.60, it's not looking good. We do not have any support here. If we don't include this wick, right? It's the weekly. Let's go to the 2 weekly. If we do not include the October 10th wick, guys, we have nothing until we come down to the 2-week order block around the 886, right? Just dipping under $1. Let's put on market cipher. The 2-week looks bottomy. The week has just printed a bottom here. So I don't have as much data for SUI as I have for ETH. But given the fact that a lot of altcoins look like a bottom is near, I wouldn't be surprised if then SUI follows suit with maybe just coming down to take the low again, and then we end up with a move back up like this to our weekly order block. But this level needs to hold, otherwise we could have a fast move down. But if all the other coins start to get a bounce with the scenarios that we've kind of talked about, then yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this thing back up at like $2.60 or so. You know. All right. All right. All right, guys. I think I am gonna head out. We got games in the Casper Crew Discord. All right, every single day in the Casper Crew, we're doing games. All right, make sure to check it out if you're interested. JasonCasperTrading.com, best trading community in the world. All right, also I'm trading on KCEX. I'm trading on WEEX. I'm trading on BLOFIN, and I am trading on ZOOMEX. Right now, KCEX has the best deal on fees as we're scarily breaking down from this giant bear flag. Make sure to check it out. Like, subscribe, click the bell. God bless you all, and I'll see you next time. Peace!